July 3rd, 2025. Rural Texas. A day like any other, until it wasn't. I was walking home from my daughter's house. Same path I'd taken 1,000 times before. The sky, clear. Not a cloud in sight. No warnings, no storm chasers. No sirens, just the hum of crickets, the crunch of gravel under my boots. And then lightning. One bolt. Out of nowhere. It hit me square in the chest. They say it's rare. 1 in 15,000. But this wasn't luck. And it wasn't fate. It was a doorway. Because when my heart stopped, and the world faded, something else opened. Something beyond time. And what Jesus showed me on the other side, it wasn't what I'd heard in sermons. It wasn't what I'd read in Revelation. It was something no preacher ever warned me about. Something terrifying and urgent. This isn't about a date on a calendar. It's about a sequence. A chain of spiritual events that's already started. And most people don't even realize it. And if you miss it, you may miss everything. Before I tell you what Jesus showed me, I need you to do something right now. Pause for just a second. Click subscribe, tap the bell, and type one word in the comments. Ready. This isn't just another video you scroll past. This is a prophetic warning. A message for anyone with ears to hear. Stay with me. My name is Thomas. I'm 67 years old. A grandfather, a Vietnam vet, a retired electrician from small-town Texas. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a prophet. I'm just a man who believed life would play out like everyone else's, quiet, simple, ordinary. Ranch life. Morning coffee on the porch. Fixing the same old fence posts when the cattle pushed too hard. Sunday dinners with the family. Telling the grandkids stories they're too young to believe. I believed in God. Of course I did. But I figured I'd just live out my days. Die an old man in my sleep, and meet him later. I never expected this. I never thought I'd meet him between heartbeats. And I definitely never thought he'd send me back. Not with a vision. Not with a warning. But here I am. And what I'm about to tell you, it's not comfortable. It's not easy. But it's real. And if you've ever wondered what comes next, stay with me. Because this is where the story really begins. It happened so fast. And yet somehow, it lasted forever. I was walking across the pasture, just like always. Boots pressing into wet grass. The air had that sharp smell. The kind you get right before rain, even when the sky's still blue. I remember thinking how quiet it was. Then bang. Not thunder. Not a rumble. It was a snap. A crack louder than thought. Like the sky itself broke in half. I didn't even see the lightning. Just a white flash. And then nothing. No sound. No sky. No ground under my feet. Only blackness. But here's the strange part. I wasn't scared. I wasn't in pain. I wasn't anywhere. My heart had stopped. My lungs had frozen mid-breath. But my mind, it stayed awake. Hovering. Watching. I could see my own body. Crumpled in the grass. Smoke curling off my shirt. The smell hit next, burnt skin mixed with ozone. A scent you don't forget. Like metal left too long in the fire. My ears picked up something strange. A distant ringing. But underneath it, something else. A pulse. Not from my chest. From the air itself. And then, the darkness cracked. A single point of light. Far away at first, then rushing toward me faster than thought. It wasn't like headlights or the sun. It was alive. It had weight. It had will. I realized I wasn't floating toward the light. It was coming for me. And somewhere deep in that brightness, I felt a presence. Not a figure yet. Not a face. But I knew. Before a single word was spoken, I knew exactly who it was. The light wasn't just bright. It was alive. It didn't blind me. It enveloped me. I could feel it pressing into every part of me. Not my body anymore, but something deeper, like it knew me. Then, it happened. The light parted, and I saw him. Jesus. He wasn't a painting. He wasn't a stained glass window. He wasn't the gentle shepherd I'd seen in Sunday school books. He was everything. Eyes like fire and ocean at once. They saw it all. Every second of my life. Every lie I told. Every kindness I gave. Every time I chose fear over faith. Every time I loved. Every time I failed. His eyes held all of it, and they didn't flinch. There was no anger in him. No disappointment. Just truth. Pure, absolute truth. Standing in front of me, clothed in something brighter than light. And then he spoke. His voice wasn't like anything I'd heard on earth. It was thunder, but soft. A waterfall, but calm. It was safe. Thomas, he said. Come. He reached out his hand. It wasn't forced. It wasn't demanded. It was an invitation. But somehow, I knew saying no wasn't an option. Not because I was scared, because I was home. Come, he whispered again. There's something you must see. It's time. And right there, in that place between death and life, I understood. This wasn't just about me. It wasn't just my story. I was being shown something for all of us. Something for the world. And what came next was more terrifying and more beautiful than anything I could have imagined. Jesus didn't walk. He didn't lead me by the hand. He just moved. And I was with him. In a blink, we were no longer in the field where I'd fallen. We were somewhere higher, far above the earth. Looking down, not with human eyes, but with eyes that could see both the physical and the spiritual at the same time. And that's when I saw it. Lightning. But not just over Texas. Bolts were striking all over the world. Africa, Russia, China, Brazil, the Middle East, the oceans. All at once. Clear skies. No storms. No warnings. Just flash after flash, like the earth was being touched by invisible fingers. Some bolts were small. Others split mountains. Some lit up entire cities for a moment. But none of them were random. They were chosen. Each bolt hitting a specific place, a specific person, a specific moment in time. I felt my spirit trembling. And then Jesus spoke. His voice was close, but it also seemed to come from everywhere at once. This is the beginning of the separation. I looked at him. What do you mean? I whispered. He didn't answer with words right away. He just showed me. The lightning wasn't just weather. It was a spiritual trigger, a signal sent out from heaven. Not to end time, but to begin a hidden countdown. Not a date, a sequence. A sequence of awakenings. Moments where souls are shaken, given one last chance to choose light or darkness. The rapture does not begin with bodies leaving, he whispered. It begins with hearts deciding. And as I watched the lightning ripple across the world, I realized it had already started. The next thing I saw, I wasn't ready for it. All across the earth, as the lightning faded, I saw something else, something hidden. Above every city, every village, every home, there was a battle. Not with guns, not with bombs, but with souls. There were angels, beings of light, moving silently, swiftly, marking people. I saw them placing seals of light over certain hearts, quiet believers, people who prayed in secret, people who loved when it wasn't easy, people no one noticed, but heaven did. These marks weren't on foreheads or hands, they were inside, on the soul. A quiet glow, only visible from this higher place. But then I saw the other side. Shadow forms, entities that didn't have faces, but had hunger, feeding on fear, on distraction, on addiction, on apathy. They weren't just demons from folklore. They were everywhere in systems, in entertainment, in politics. I saw media screens flashing chaos while the shadows fed. I saw leaders pulling strings while wearing masks of kindness. I saw families fighting, churches splitting, hearts growing cold, and the darkness growing stronger every time. The smell was overwhelming. Sulfur, ash, rot. It clung to places where people ignored the call. I turned to Jesus. My chest felt heavy. What is this? I whispered. His eyes stayed on the world below. Before the bodies are taken, he said, the hearts are tested. This was the invisible harvest, a pre-rapture. a sorting of souls that no one could see, except in the spiritual realm. And it was happening right now. Jesus moved again. And suddenly, I wasn't above the world anymore. I was inside it. Inside boardrooms. Inside secret meetings. High-rise offices with glass walls that touched the clouds. Government rooms with no windows, only screens. Men and women in suits. Tech leaders. Politicians. Billionaires. They weren't talking about profits. They were planning control. On the tables in front of them were devices, small chips, wireless transmitters, prototypes of technology not yet released to the public, each one tracking something beyond location. They were tracking soul data, emotional responses, despair levels, anger indexes, compliance scores. They knew who was ready to follow and who would resist. One man spoke. "We'll give them what they're waiting for." Another replied. "False ascension events, projected miracles, AI prophets, global unity campaigns." A third whispered, almost reverently, "If we control the sky, we control the masses." I saw holographic projections being tested, angels made of pixels, voices generated by code, false messiahs on massive screens, global broadcasts announcing the rapture has begun, join the awakening. But it wasn't real. It was manufactured, a counterfeit gospel. And then I saw the sky, glitching, flickers in the clouds, fake stars rendered by satellites, voices from speakers hidden in towers, people cheering, clapping, raising their hands to worship images in the air. Jesus stood beside me. His face was solemn. They will try to fake what only heaven can do. My heart dropped, because most of the world would believe it. But then Jesus showed me something else, something beautiful, away from the screens, away from the cameras, away from the noise. There was a remnant, a hidden church, not the one on TV, not the mega stadiums, not the headline makers. This was the real bride of Christ, quiet, faithful, unseen. I saw grandmothers in prayer closets, hands trembling with age, but steady in spirit, whispering names into the silence, holding back storms with whispered prayers. I saw children, under blankets at night, whispering psalms while their parents slept, tears running down their cheeks, not from fear, but from love. And across the world, beams of light, thin at first, then growing stronger, connecting from house to house, from city to city, across continents, prayer chains without hashtags, worship without cameras, faith without applause, and above them, angels, standing guard, weapons drawn, faces like stone, unyielding in battle. The fight was fierce, darker than I'd imagined, but the light was winning in places the world didn't see. Jesus whispered again, "Tell them not all will see the signs in the sky. Some will hear the whisper in the heart." This was the real church, the remnant, and though small they were holding back the floodgates of destruction. For now, Jesus turned to me, his eyes still full of love, but now sharper, surgical, precise. "Now see what comes next," he said. And suddenly I was standing between two futures, side by side. On one side, the faithful were taken, not all at once, not in a cinematic explosion of wings and clouds. It was quiet, personal. I saw a woman at her kitchen sink, washing a cup, disappear, her hands fading into light, her body lifted as if gravity let go. I saw a father praying beside his son's hospital bed, vanishing mid-sentence, leaving only warmth behind. A truck driver alone on a dark highway, gone in a blink, his rig rolling safely to a stop. It wasn't chaos. It was order. Each one taken not by schedule, but by alignment. As their hearts fully surrendered, they ascended, one by one, like candles being gently blown out, only to be relit in another place. Then I saw the other side, the left-behind spiral. Governments rushed to explain the disappearances. An evolutionary upgrade, they said. A new phase of humanity. They rolled out tech implants to replace faith, digital enlightenment, artificial prophets. Cities burned while leaders smiled on television. Families fractured. Friends turned on each other. Screens filled with synthetic miracles, false peace, false saviors, false light. Jesus spoke again. The rapture has begun, but not as you imagined. It's not a single moment, it's a process. And it has started. The visions faded, the light receded. I wanted to stay, but Jesus placed his hand on my shoulder. Speak it. That was his final whisper. And then pain. Cold air slammed into my lungs. Electric shocks rippled through my chest. Clear. A doctor's voice. Another jolt. The smell of burnt skin. Not from the lightning this time, but from the defibrillator paddles. Hospital lights burned my eyes. Plastic tubes in my throat. Needles in my arms. Beeping monitors. Shouting nurses. He's back. We've got him back. But I wasn't really back. Not fully. Part of me was still standing in that place between. I looked around the ICU. Machines blinking. Faces staring. But all I could think about was the weight of what I'd seen. I tried to speak, but the words caught in my throat. Finally, with the last breath I had left, I forced out one sentence. It wasn't poetic. It wasn't dramatic. It was the truth. It's not about a date, I whispered. It's about a decision. And just like that, the burden was mine to carry. Because now, I had to tell you. When I left the hospital, I knew I couldn't keep this to myself. So, I started small. My first talk was at a little country church, 20 folding chairs and a borrowed microphone. I told them everything. The lightning, the visions, the warning. By the end of it, one teenage boy was on his knees, crying. His friends didn't laugh. They joined him. That was the first ripple. A week later, someone recorded a clip of my story and posted it online. It wasn't polished. It wasn't professional. But it spread like wildfire. 2 million views in 7 days. Not because of me, because the Spirit was moving. Emails started flooding in. One man wrote, "I've stopped chasing money. I'm chasing God now." A woman sent this message. "I reconciled with my daughter after 5 years of silence. Thank you." These weren't massive revivals. No stadiums, no headlines, just quiet awakenings. One soul at a time. A small remnant, rising quietly. Hearts opening. Lives changing. Exactly how Jesus said it would happen. Before you close this video, I need to tell you something one more time. This isn't entertainment. This is prophecy. If your heart is beating fast right now, if something in your spirit is stirring, that's not by accident. The window is still open, but it's closing. So, here's what I need you to do. Comment your nation below. Not just to say where you're from, but to stand in the gap for your people. I'll personally pray over every name and every country that shows up. Then share this with 3 people you love. Text it. Email it. Knock on their door if you have to. Don't let someone you care about miss this warning. And finally, subscribe to this channel and tap the bell. More visions are coming. More messages will be shared. Stay awake. Stay ready. Because the sequence has already begun. May the Lord bless you. May He guard you. And may He prepare your heart for His coming. This isn't about fear. It's about readiness. The next moment isn't promised, but eternity is. Keep your lamp lit. Keep your eyes open. And may the peace of Christ go with you, wherever you are in the world tonight.